Hey, how's it going? My name is Daniel Calderon and welcome back to Corner Talks, my artworks. I can't tell you enough how much I feel grateful for the amount of support, kind compliments I've been receiving from a lot of you. Thank you so much for supporting me on this creative venture that I discovered through the pandemic. I've recently been getting a lot of questions. One in particular, someone on Instagram asked me what kind of style this is. And to that I say to you guys, in case you don't know, it's a freehand. It's freestyle. It's with just a pencil and a reference image that I use that I find on the internet. And it's not digital. For any of you that might be asking, it is just a pencil and a paper with an eraser. And like with anything, the more you do, the more you get better at it. Because I've been getting a lot of questions as well as how do you get that shading so precise and so effective that it just invites you as the viewer. And I'm telling you guys, it's just consistency. It's a lot of the characters that I draw, a lot of the characters that I grew up with, the nostalgia that I feel when I do them. And there's so much more that I plan to do. Having said that, these are a look at my artworks, Volume 6. It's the cute, adorable, and legendary Pokemon, Mew. Mew is one of those where it's the Yoda of the franchise. It's small but deadly, petite but powerful. And this is a character that you do not want to mess with. This is a character where the concept of size doesn't matter comes into play. This Pokemon, like I said, is a legendary Pokemon, and the reason being is because it's the most powerful in the game, where at the time when they made it back in the 90s, when they had the original 151. And the reason being is, to give you some context, each Pokemon has a set of skills, a set of moves that they're allowed to learn. And it's dependent on their type. So if you're a water, you can learn water moves and a few normal moves. If you're a fire type, same concept. And you can cross between maybe a dragon and a water move, whatever have you. Long story short, this character can learn any move in the game. And that's what makes it the most powerful. That's what makes it a force to be reckoned with. And it's so powerful that even in the anime, that is the story, that is the origins of Mewtwo. The scientists, the humans in the show, wanted to get the DNA from Mew and, you know, enhance it, make it even better. And that is how Mewtwo was born. So typically with my drawings, I try to make them very intimidating, very, you know, demeaning, and just very aggressive looking, powerful, intense, just a cinematic look. And with Mew, I could have done the same thing, you know, put him in a action pose mid-fight, but Mew is not known for that. Mew, anyone that's a fan of Pokemon, anyone that has, you know, seen pop culture or seen this character floating around, knows that it is supposed to be seen very adorable. It's supposed to be seen very innocent, very delicate. But that's what intrigues the character even more. That juxtaposition, the fact that it is vulnerable, it looks innocent, but at the same time, it can mix you up. It can level buildings, it can level cities with one swift stroke. It's that powerful. And, you know, the big eyes, the inviting eyes, is what I wanted to most focus on. I wanted you as a viewer to kind of be drawn in and get the most attention. That when you see those eyes, I wanted to make them as real as possible in anime terms, but believable, I should say. And again, the shading over here near the pupils, and just getting the sheen to the eye with, you know, doing the white spaces. You know, the no mouth makes it even more kind of mysterious. Again, very innocent looking. And then the tail that wraps around behind. I just wanted to make it come across like it was a pet dog, like a puppy. And, you know, that's why over here you have the arms as relaxed as they are. And it kind of looks at you with that puppy dog look. Okay, so I have a confession to make. I never really watched Avatar: The Last Airbender in its entirety, but I did watch a good chunk of episodes in the first season. And the reason why I drew this is because around the time of when the pandemic first started, I remember on Netflix, they released the entire series. It was about 3 or 4 seasons, and, you know, I wasn't really doing much. And I wanted to check it out because, again, through pop culture, I know that it's a big show and a lot of people rave about it. And, you know, I sat myself down and I was immediately drawn in. I was just pulled in because, again, it's a kid's show, but it has a lot of very adult core ideas. It has a lot of mature content that, you know, you can relate to. you can be inspired by. And I enjoyed the concept of the show where it introduced bending arts, and that means there were elements that these individuals could possess and manipulate, like air, water, fire, and earth. And the avatar comes into play, AANG, I should say. This is AANG, and he is like a prophet almost, where he's able to possess all 4 elements and master all 4 of the bending arts. And this character is sought after, right? He is the chosen one kind of thing, if you will, from what I've seen so far. And everyone is out to get him. I enjoyed the animation in the show. I enjoyed the style. Again, that they're telekinetic. They can manipulate these elements, these forces of nature, and use them against their enemies, or for good, I should say. And there's a lot of different dynamics going on with good versus evil. But the biggest thing for me about the show that kept me watching, or kept me glued, at least for the few episodes that I did watch, was the relationship Aang had with a character called Katara and her brother Sokka. And these characters, these 3, were on the run. They were trying to keep Aang safe from the evil forces of the Fire Nation, because they were seeking out his powers. And, you know, just seeing how protective they were of him, how they grew to love him, and, you know, Katara being very protective, very motherly in a sense. And you have Sokka, kind of the neurotic, comic relief character. It was just really refreshing, and seeing that kind of balance, that dynamic in the relationship, how they kind of fed off each other. You know, Aang is a very happy-go-lucky character. He's very enthusiastic, reminded me a lot of Goku. But when he was ready for battle, he meant business. And that's how I wanted to depict him, is that his smirk here is supposed to convey that he's a mischievous character. He's very childish, but he's also happy-go-lucky. He means well. He's just, you know, rambunctious. He likes to get in there. He likes to, you know, get involved, and he means well, really. The pose and the eyes and the way I made them with them big, I want, again, that vulnerability, that innocence, that naivety to come across, because that's why Katara and Sokka come into play, where they're kind of teaching him the ways, teaching him the realities of the world. Again, that position, the way I pose him to the viewer, is to show him that he's, you know, clearly an experienced fighter, with the weapon here, the staff here he has on his back. But again, that childish kind of grin, the youthful eyes, is to show you that contradiction, that contrast of those kind of aspects, where he's young but experienced, innocent but powerful. Now, I know in Star Wars we have the iconic helmets of Darth Vader and Boba Fett, but the Stormtrooper, come on, that is on the list. And that is why I had to draw him. As an avid fan of Star Wars, someone that is a diehard, I love the franchise to death, I had to put the Stormtrooper. And I'm not talking about the prequel trilogy Stormtroopers. I'm talking about the ones from the original trilogy, the ones that were at Darth Vader's side. Before the prequel trilogy and the sequel trilogy, we had no idea who these characters were. All we knew were that Stormtroopers were the henchmen to Darth Vader, and they had a bad aim. They could not shoot if their life depended on it. They always missed their target or missed the hero, and God knows why they didn't get fired, but I can see why a lot of them got easily killed by either the Jedi or the Rebels. But nevertheless, this character was kind of fun. They had a sense of humor, they had a personality, they talked back and forth, and I'm talking about if you watch the original Star Wars, you can kind of pick that up. But the Stormtrooper character is so iconic, not only to pop culture, but the franchise itself, Star Wars. And this character, there's just something that draws you in. It's a soldier for the Empire, and instead of drawing the whole body, I wanted to focus on the helmet, because again, the reason why I say iconic is because I really do mean that. When you see this helmet, you immediately know who it is or what it is. Even if you don't watch Star Wars, you've seen this before, this image. And I had an appreciation when I did the shading for this character. I had an appreciation for the detail that the costume designers went into making this come to life for us to watch on the screen. The details, like, you know, the widgets and the vents, and, you know, the mouthpiece here, and the eye slits, this band right here, required so much shading, so much time and effort, because I wanted to give off that believability where it was a shiny surface, right? Because Stormtrooper helmets, for the most part, have a sheen to them, right? They're glossy. And again, just a lot of an appreciation for the detail that went in. And you just admire more and more the filmmaking efforts and talents that go into making the movies that we enjoy watching to this day. You know, 40, 50 years later, it's a timeless classic. That was my tribute to Star Wars, another tribute, many more to come, but the Stormtrooper had to be done. If I was gonna do Darth Vader and Boba Fett, this was the next iconic piece I had to master. Thank you again, guys, for joining me on another Corner Talks. I really hope you enjoyed my discussion of a look at my artworks, volume 6. Again, this is such a fun, creative venture for me. I love using it as an outlet to express my creativity, express my love for these nostalgic characters, these characters I grew up on, and you know, sharing them with you and hearing your feedback. I'm so grateful for that support, so grateful for that feedback. And I love the fact when I have people my age, older, younger, people that grew up or know these characters tell me, wow, that was well done, or thanks for doing this. It reminds me of, you know, my childhood. If you agree or disagree to what I had to say about these sketches or the drawings themselves, please leave your comments down below. I always love to see your thoughts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Take care, and we'll talk soon.